Hi, this is Cindy, and this is part 6 of the shed tutorial for CMGT1140. And today I'm going to talk about how to create some of the additional drawings that would then go into the construction drawing set now that we have our shed all drawn. So a couple of things that we're going to add is exterior building elevations, 2 sections, and then 2 detail callouts on the plan. So the first one that we're going to put in is the section view, and we do that under the View tab. Then in the Create panel, there's something called Section, and we're going to select that. And I'm simply going to start at the left side of my building, and I'm going to draw my section view all the way through my building to the other side. And you can see that it creates that view there that's looking towards the outside, and I'm just going to pull the view towards the building. So it looks like that. You notice that there's no nomenclature over here. It does not give you the sheet numbers or anything like that because it automatically populates once you've pulled that view onto the sheet. You'll notice that on your project browser over here on the left under sections, you can now find building section 1, and if I double click that, it's going to show me my building section of my building. And so that's what that looks like. I can then also rename this building section here, and then it'll rename it everywhere. For right now, I'm just going to leave it called section 1. So I'm going to just double click and go back to my floor plan, and I'm going to put in a section view going the other direction. So I'm going to go to View and Section, and I'm going to draw my building section through my building going the other direction, so perpendicular to the first one. And again, you'll see here, I'm just going to pull this out so it goes all the way through my stairs. You'll see that that again has no nomenclature there. Now I'm also going to add exterior building elevation markers. Now we have the ones that are on, the overall plan, but these markers are really meant more for the project as an overall of a way of navigating and being able to see that overall view. These views that I'm putting in here are going to be used for our construction documentation set. And so I'm going to select elevation, and the top one, elevation. Over here is building elevation, and you probably have a square building elevation marker following you around. So you're going to select edit type, and our elevation tag that we have here that says 1/2 inch square. If I then select that and I come over here to my elevation mark, I'm then going to want to select my elevation, mark, body, circle, filled, arrow, and view name. So that's the one that I'm going to use. So I'm going to say OK and apply an OK on that. Now when I put this one in, so I'm just going to point it towards the outside of my building here, you'll see that it says elevation 1A next to that, and that's just a little bit overkill. I don't want my elevation marker to have that much information because the name of the elevation then would be listed here, and that's just, it's a little bit too busy for what I want it to look like. So I'm going to modify what this elevation marker looks like. So in order to do that, I can't do edit type in here. I have to open the original one. So I'm going to go up underneath the R, and I'm going to go to Open and Family, and it's going to bring up all of my normal Revit folders. I'm going to go under Annotations, and I'm going to select my elevation mark body circle is what I'm going to select. And you can see the preview of it there and say Open. So then I get something that looks like this. So I'm going to just select the top one where it says One Reference, and I have Edit Family up here on the top. I'm going to select Edit Family, and you'll notice that within that family you should have something that says Reference and Reference Name over here on the left. I want you to just select that and delete them. Mine doesn't say that because I've modified this one. So you're just going to click on it and delete it, and it'll still say reference. You're going to click on that and delete it, and then you're just going to select save, and then you're going to load it into the project. Now the project that you're going to load it into is not the shed, but the elevation mark body circle that you're working on. And I'm going to say overwrite the existing version, and now you see that I just have numbers running around the outside instead of also the name. So I'm just going to save this, and I'm going to save it inside of my particular project underneath Annotations, and I'm going to save it as my mark body circle. It's just telling me I failed to open it because I already have it open. And then I'm going to take that whole thing and load it into my project, into my shed tutorial. And again, it's going to ask me if I want to overwrite, and then it's, again, in second it's going to ask, do you want to overwrite both of the things? So it's asking me, do you want to overwrite both that, the marker part as well as the circle? And I do, and that's the middle option here. So now you can see that my mark body circle looks like this. There's only 2 numbers, there's no name also listed here, and so I'm going to just put 4 of those going around the outside of my building. So I'm just going to select elevation, and I'm just going to point that at the exterior of my building. So I have 4 of them going around the outside. So that's my exterior elevation view. Then the other thing that I'm going to add to this is we're going to be doing some callouts or detail views of what the window condition looks like, as well as what the door condition looks like. And so I'm going to do those with a callout. So I'm going to select callout here. And as soon as I select callout, that allows me to draw a little round rectangle around my window here, and I'm just going to click that. Now my body mark for that is like over here on the right in the middle of my wall, and I certainly don't want that. So I'm just going to click on it so the whole thing turns blue, and I'm just going to grab this bar here and move my circle up over here. Come with me. Okay. There we go. That's better. So now I can read it. Now I can do that same thing over here for my door. I want to do a call out for that as well. And I'm just going to select the one that's away from this just to keep it clear. So I'm going to just select call out, and I'm going to put that around my door. Again, I'm not really liking where my mark body circle is there. And so I'm just going to move that around to the inside so that I can see that. So those are all of our different views. So I want to be able to put all of these different views on different sheets so that I'm able to have a set of drawings that I can use. And so in order to do that, I have to establish some new sheets. And we talked about title blocks in a separate video, so I'm going to have to load my title block in here to be able to use it. So on my project browser on the left, all the way on the bottom, there's a category called Sheets. And right now there shouldn't be any in there. And I'm just going to right click and say New Sheet. And my title block that I've created, I have not yet loaded into my project. So on the top I'm going to select Load. I'm then going to go to my title block, which I should have saved in my Shed folder. And I believe I saved mine under my Families. So I'm just going to select that, and you can see that it's in my list, and I'm going to say OK. So here's what my title block looks like, and right now I have one new sheet, and you can see that it's called A101 Unnamed. And so I'm going to take this and right click, and because I want to rename this, and so on my title sheet for this, I'm just going to rename this A0.0. And I'm going to name this, not 0.0, and I'm going to name this title sheet. Okay. So then I'm going to add a few more. So I'm just going to say New Sheet, again using that same title block that I just loaded, and I'm just going to add a couple of them and then rename them later. Okay. So I have my A0.0, which is my title sheet. I'm going to rename this other one A1.1, and that one is going to be my plan views. I have another one that I'm going to rename A1.2. You can see that it tries to help you with the numbering, but doesn't really know what to do with the numbering, so it often is not helpful in its helpfulness. And actually I have A2.2. These are going to be my elevations. And I'm going to have another one. Again, I'm going to rename A3.1, and that's going to be my section views, so sections. And I think I probably also have details on that sheet, so I'm going to put sections and details. Okay, so you can see there I have 4 sheets that I'm going to be using. And I may not use them all. I may be changing these later and change what the name of that is depending on how the items lay out on my plan. Okay, so I'm going to first go back to my floor plan and consider my first call out. So you can see that my call out is listed here under call out of floor, and I'm going to just rename that. This is my window detail And my call out 2, I'm going to rename that as door detail. And we're going to be creating those details in a separate drawing. Then on my floor plan, I also want to be able to have a separate floor plan that I can have different views on, and so I'm able to duplicate that view so that I can have establish different elements with that. So if I say duplicate view, and then I'm going to say duplicate with detailing, and what that means is it's also going to duplicate all of my elevation markers and things. So I'm going to say duplicate with detailing. And you can see that this says copy of floor, and I'm going to rename that construction plan. Okay, so with any of these, I can just pull them onto my sheet. So if I go to my plan view and I take my construction plan here, and I'm just going to pull it over onto my sheet. And you can see that my construction plan with the trees and everything is like way too big because I have my building elevations way out here on the exterior, and that's simply not going to work. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go back to my floor plan, and I'm going to create a call out around my floor plan so that I'm able to put that on my sheet and not have it be gigantic. So I'm going to select call out here, and I'm just going to draw a large call out around my floor plan, and you can see there that it creates call out of floor. And I'm just going to take this duplicate plan of the construction plan, I'm going to delete it. I'm going to rename my call out of floor construction plan. Now when I go back to my plan views sheet and my construction plan, and I drag that over here, still that's pretty big at 1/2 inch scale. So back to my construction plan. Oh, and actually it's at 1 inch, that's why. So back to my construction plan, and I'm going to change that to 1/2 inch equals a foot. And go back to my sheet view, pull my plan over there. Okay, so that's a little bit better. So then I'm able to modify the size on this so that it's able to fit on my sheet. And I'm able to do that with all of my other sheets. So I'm able to take my elevations, for example, and I can take my elevation and pull it over here onto my sheet. And again, I have the scale on this much, much too big. And so if I want to be able to alter that, I need to alter it in the elevation. So if I look at my elevation right now at 1/2 inch scale, and it's got the tree over there, and I'm just going to eliminate that tree so that it's not part of my drawing, and just make my view a little bit smaller here. That's better. So then if I look at my elevation sheet and I pull elevation 1.1a over there, then you can see that it's taking up a lot less room on the page, and it will fit on there. And I'm able to rename this. So I could rename this the south elevation. So if I right click this and rename south elevation, it's going to rename it there. But then it's also going to rename it right here underneath the label for my project.